Hello and welcome. I hope you're safe and well in today's exciting episode. Well, I made some jackets. I got them done for the January deadline. So I wanted to make I wanted to finish at least 9 things each month because I've got so many unfinished things. And I managed it, but now I'm just exhausted. So, and they're sort of done. They're at the point where they need to be beaded, so that counts.
It's perfect. Perfect jacket.
I spent most of my sewing time in January beading the Paris jacket with the vertical garden beading on it and finishing the grey floral jacket, which I also started in December. Well, I technically made the jacket at the end of November and then did the first layer of beading. Anyway, so I only had 2 things finished and I kind of wanted to finish 9 each month. So I got out 2 other things and I was like, I could finish these. Plus, I've got some other jackets that I cut out. It's the end of November, start of December last year. And I can finish some of those. So last you saw me, I'd taken off the red keys. So I was going to take the keys off, then I was going to fix the shoulders, and then I was going to restitch all the red keys on and do a feature on the back. I got to the point where they're all off, so now I just have to carefully unpick the shoulders. And it's really, really careful work, and I was like, I'm not sure. Is there something a little more slapdash that I can do? So I decided to work on this. I did do some hand stitching on that red jacket as well. Oh, and then last week was Couture Week in Paris. So this is Dior, and they had some grey, my grey jacket with the flowers on it. Well, Dior showed 3 looks that were grey and with grey flowers on them. So great minds, I guess. And one of them is like this tiny little bolero over a full sort of ball gowny dress, and the skirt, instead of being a big full skirt, it's the hoops of a skirt, and then it's got these chandeliers, vertical garden things over the top. So it's kind of like all the same concepts but done in a way that uses way more money and resources. And it's just interesting, the same idea, the same concepts, but done in different ways. This is, to be fair, like my jacket is by one person. So, yeah. And I really like mine, but theirs is it's really beautiful. And there's my favorite of the 3 there's 3 grey ones and also 3 or several beige ones as well. The grey one with the tiny little bolero jacket over the top is my favorite. So the sleeves are like this, but they're about half a third the length, and they're like corseted, like they're boned, I think, to keep them out. I guess you could do French seams. The thing with designer clothes is there's different guilds or different unions, so the drafting people have to draft it. And then the people who work in, say, Dior, there's one section that does suits and one section that does dresses, and they're allowed to do what they do. But then there's other beading houses, embellishment houses, and they're allowed to do beading and embroidery. So, yeah, after I show you mine, I'll show you a few pics from Dior. Posted a few pictures of Lesage doing the beading and the flowers. So yeah, they make things a different way. So they can't make the whole dress or make the whole jacket, then bead it. They have to draft it, then send it out to the embroiderer, the embellishers who do all the work. So they sort of have to construct their garments a completely different way as well, because it has to be hand stitched together afterwards. So this is my favorite one, the tiny little bolero. You can see it's basically just a collar and sleeves over a big sleeveless gown with a high neck. And this is just a couple of other shots from Dior. And I didn't really see the whole thing, but I sort of had to flick through these to get to the one that I wanted. And it's just so pretty. So I think I might make some jackets that have even shorter sleeves than I've got some short sleeve ones that are cut out. So I'll finish making them, and these are the designer ones being made. And then I've popped in one of mine next, I think. So this is my one. So I basically half made the entire jacket, then I beaded it. Whereas here, you see, it's they've drafted the pattern in such a way that it's just got a couple of darts in it. So it can all be beaded, and then it goes back to Dior and they just hand stitch a few darts together, and then add the bodice to the sort of skirt. And this is a few close-ups. It's so gorgeous. I absolutely love the work in it. And yeah, the background's a bit considering the muted tones of the gowns. And I just love the short sleeve bolero on this one. It is so pretty. And yeah, see, the sleeves sort of sit out in a really beautiful way. So I don't know. I don't really like bone things because I sort of store all my jackets the way you would store a museum collection, in storage boxes. So if I put corsetry or boning in one of my jackets, then it will have to have its own box, and there's a limit how much storage space I have for my jackets. Anyway, so I just thought I would show you that. The beige ones, so just go to Dior on Instagram or Pinterest, or it's probably on YouTube, I haven't checked. But yeah, there's just some beautiful, beautiful work in that one. Couture Week so Fashion Week happens each season in each of the major fashion countries. But then the really important fashion weeks are Couture Week, and they only happen twice a year. So, and this is in Paris is the most important one. So that's what just happened. It's the one that's in Devil Wears Prada. It's not actually Fashion Week, but they call it that. It's Couture Week. Anyway, so yes, that caught my eye. Anyway, so then I still had loads of jackets to do. So as I said, I cut out these jackets a long time ago, but then I got distracted beading the Paris one and the grey one. So now it is time to make up these jackets. So I had all the outer fabric done, but I had to go back and cut out this exact same pieces. So this jacket pattern has 2 fronts, 1 big back piece cut on the fold, and 2 sleeves, obviously. So then I had to go back and cut out 2 layers of netting for every single jacket, and I ended up having 11. So I've got 11 different most of them are quilting cottons, and yes, one of them is the Very Hungry Caterpillar. So it's gonna look so cute because I've got these beads in. Have you ever seen the Very Hungry Caterpillar toys? The caterpillar is 2 different greens and he's got a red head. So I've got these beads and I'm going to string them in a string, and they're going to look like little caterpillars strung all over, and I'm going to do them all over the jacket. It's going to be so cute. Anyway, so once I'd cut out all the netting, then I had to put them all together. So there's actually 3 layers of everything here. It's not just one piece and then you pin the sleeve to the front and the back. So it took forever, but here we go. So this is me showing you. So this is the big back piece, and I matched up the two netting bits with the outer fabric. And then this is me showing you, this side was all the backs plus all the fronts, and then over the other side I had all the sleeves, because I do the sleeves first and I machine sew around the edge, which is the seam line, and then I just pin up the hem and usually, and I stitch that, then I stitch the sleeve onto the jacket. But I decided that it would just be easier. I didn't really have enough time to do that. So I decided to sew them all together. So you have to sew the two fronts to the back at the shoulder. And once you've done that, then you can pin on the sleeves and machine sew them on. So I did one just to show you how it was done. And then I folded that and put it out of the way. And then I went through all the others and I pinned them together. So my first stage was just pinning all three layers together. And now I'm pinning the actual pieces into a jacket shape. So yes, oh my gosh, it just took so long. And this is me getting distracted by all the different pretty cottons that I'm going to be using. This one here on the blue lines, I've got some aquarry blue beads and I'm going to stitch them all on the blue lines. It's going to be so cute, and I'm going to have some hanging down as well. I'm totally obsessed with the vertical garden idea. And this one here I call the Sistine Chapel. I just think it's such a beautiful print, and I don't know what I'm going to put on that one, but it's just beautiful. So I finally have pinned them all together. So the fronts and the backs are pinned together at the shoulders. I have to machine sew all the shoulders and then splay open the seams, pin them into place. Then I can pin on the sleeves. So I've done one, and then it's just so exhausting because you have to do the shoulder seam, and then as soon as you've done that, you can splay open the shoulder seam and pin it into place, and then pin the sleeve on, machine sew the sleeve, and then pin the seams back that you have to later hand stitch. And so I just ended up doing one at a time, and it takes so long. And when you're pinning you can't see it, but the sleeves, when you pin the seams into place, because I've got two layers of netting there, and you sort of have to reach in and sort of turn them and hold them from the other side, it's really tricky, and you sort of have to reach in and you can't see where you're reaching. So I've got all these scratches on my arms from the netting, because when you cut netting, it's plastic, so if you cut it with sharp scissors, it's really, really sharp. I did use dull scissors, blunt scissors, but it's still, because I was sort of feeling around to feel where the pins needed to go and to hold everything in place. I've got these scratchy bits on my arm, and honestly. Anyway, so because I did so many, it would have been fine doing just one, but anyway, so here we go, and you can see the light sort of fades and fades because it was getting later and later as I was doing it, and I was just getting tighter and tighter, but I was determined to get 9 finished. I love this one. I think this might be my favorite out of, I like all of these prints. I mean, otherwise, why would I have bought them? But this Rainbow Raindrops one, it's just beautiful. And this is the 7th one, because I'd already done the Paris jacket and the grey floral jacket. That those 2 plus 7 equals 9, and I still had 4 more to go. So the Hungry Little Caterpillar, felt one that I'm going to put flowers on, and 2 others remain undone. There's a really beautiful pink and khaki rose one. But I was just so tired at this point. I was like, I just want to have a shower and edit this video and go to bed. So I was very sooky. So yes, I put 6 of them on the mannequins, and I forgot that I'd already put this one on the mannequin because the mosaic one with all the different colours was the first one I made. I was like, oh, that must be the one that I put on the mannequin first, but it wasn't. So I'll make another video when I've actually finished hemming them. So there's still quite a bit to go on these. They're not they're not really finished, but I can bead them as they are. So it's good enough I'll make sure that I do, I'll finish doing all of these by, in the next week or so. And then I'll finish the February ones early, and we'll do a January and February makes all in one. So it'll be fine. But I like the bright ones, but I'd also like the pastel ones, and this is the one I forgot to put on the mannequin. And when I was reviewing the footage, I was like, yeah, I'm too tired to go back over and do that. So next month, for February, these 2 will be, but I've already done a little bit more on each of them. I've taken the keys off on the red keys one, and with the red tweed, I've hand stitched you can't see, but I've hand stitched the tweed to the backing fabric. So now all I have to do is set the sleeves and do that part of it. So I did a little bit of work on each of those, and I still got these 4 as well. And I've done quite a bit of work on those. So I've done a little bit more of February's work than I really needed to. And I finished the January ones. So that is it for this episode. I had grand plans for making jackets mock-ups of jackets that I've never made before in January, and I didn't do a single one, but I'm really happy with the way my Paris jacket and the grey floral jacket turned out. They're amazing. This one, I was originally going to put flowers on it, but now I think I've got this big jar of mixed coloured beads, and I'm kind of determined to use it all up. So I might use, the sort of brown beads and on that one, and then the yellow and cream and white beads on the jacket with the lemons on it. And then I've got the blue, pink and white jacket, which I might use the blue beads on. And then I've got the Very Hungry Caterpillar jacket, which I might use the 2 different greens and some of the reds on. It's going to be so cute having all the little... They might look dead though, because caterpillars are wiggly, and when they're straight, they're often... Anyway, we'll see. I was going to put flowers on the Very Hungry Caterpillar jacket, but I've decided I'm just going to make another. I like the grey floral jacket so much. I'm going to do a sort of a peachy yellow and orange jacket. It's like the grey one, but sort of in those colours. So yeah, and I've got these pale pink bows, and this beige and blue one at the front here. I was going to do beige and blue on it, but I've got these pale pink bows, and I think they might look delightful on it. Ooh, I really, really want to bead this one. Beading is so much fun because you get to work on beautiful fabric and just basically stare at it for ages. It's so gorgeous. Anyway, so I am planning on still making mock-ups or trying out new patterns, and I think I'll do a couple of those next, and that way all the rest of February will be time to do beading, which is clearly the most fun thing in my opinion. So yes, that is really it for this episode. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've been inspired to finish some half done or partially done things that you have made, because it's such a good feeling getting them done and just being able to strike them off your to-do list. I still have to pin back the seams, like the edges, and hand stitch the seams down. Then I can start doing the beading. But, they're all in one big bit, so they're basically a jacket. Ooh, I can't wait to do the beading on the lemon one too. I'm going to use loads of yellow beads just sort of around the edges, like a beaded trim sort of look. And then I'm going to drip the yellow, cream and white beads, sort of the hanging ones, all through it. It's going to look so cute. And these 3 pastel ones, they're going to be fabulous as well. Anyway, really going now. Happy sewing!